Hello, God's chosen people. Welcome into the marvelous light. Have you ever been super curious about the narcissist behavior? Does your empathy lead you to constantly seek to understand people, to understand why they do the things that they do, to understand their feelings? If that is you, that is also me. As an empath, it was extremely hard for me to understand and wrap my brain around how the narcissist could be so incredibly cruel. How could they be so mean? How could they be so nasty and evil? It was very, very hard for me to understand and very, very hard to process. And I definitely didn't understand the response to love. So I would try to love this narcissist, love all of the pain out of him, and it didn't seem to work no matter what I did. So it kind of led me to go on a research journey. I wanted to find out what was the meaning behind this behavior. So it started off with me just basically researching it like relationship question. So why does my husband stay out late? Why does my husband like to argue? So simple questions like that I began to Google. So of course with Googling, Google led me to YouTube. And so I started to watch different videos on relationships, and then I would come across some religious channels. I came across lots of channels regarding narcissists. And then the deep dive began. So I finally felt like, I had some sort of answer to what was going on. And they, most of the videos, especially the videos from the psychologists, they would give you the traits of a narcissist. And I found out that my ex-husband had all of the traits. So I found myself doing more and more digging, more and more rummaging through this information, and I was soaking it up like a sponge, and I just couldn't get enough of consuming this type of content because I felt like finally, I have some sort of answer, and so I just wanted to know more and more and more. So, in addition to the narcissist channel, I also came across quite a few Christian channels and content that talked about, you know, this behavior as well. They didn't necessarily address it as narcissism, but they did talk about, evil behavior and people that are mean and nasty and the reasons why, they are. So I came across quite a few channels that addressed narcissism. Some of them were educational, some of them were kind of more laid back, and they talked about, specific examples from relationships. I found one or two channels that interjected humor, so I really had a lot to choose from when it came to, which channel to absorb. So the more time that I spent on the computer, on my phone, looking at this narcissist research, you guessed it, the narcissist caught me red-handed and wondered, okay, what are you doing? Because you really aren't free to do anything. They have to have control. They have to know what you're doing all the time. So he began to kind of look over my shoulder because, he wasn't getting as much attention because I was so busy researching. And so he's like, what are you looking at? Why are you looking at that stuff? Are you a narcissist? So, of course, I couldn't tell him, no, you are. I just kind of blamed it on something else. I said, oh, my dad is not talking to me. My dad is very wishy washy. I think my dad's a narcissist. So I'm trying to do this research so I can figure out how to get through to my dad. And that's what I told him, which, it was, yeah, that's what I told him. And so that got him off my back for a little bit, but then, I didn't want the situation to escalate. So I started to just try to watch the videos when he wasn't around. And then I started to just try to not watch them as much. Narcissists definitely want to keep you in the dark. That is how they maintain their control over you. The less you know, they feel like the more they know, the dumber you are, the more they can take advantage of you in their mind. So after the narcissist videos, I started to transition more so into videos about relationships, videos about marriage. And so that's where I kind of came into more of the Christian and religious videos. And I had some favorites, absolute favorites. There were two favorites that I had. There was Preacher Man and I would say a preacher lady. The man was an older gentleman who spoke to women, and he spoke to them in a down-to-earth, relatable type of way. He had his Bible open most of the time, and he would read from the scripture, and he would show you, what he was talking about. It would be in the Bible. So I love that. I love the teaching aspect. And then there was another preacher lady that I absolutely love. She is Southern, like me, beautiful lady, gorgeous, megawatt smile, has a great sense of humor, a unique accent. And so when I first heard her, I was like, oh my goodness, like I could totally relate to her because of that Southern thing she had going on. And also, she was very down to earth and she had a sense of humor. But what I love most about her is that she was so strong. It just came across in her videos, how strong she was. And that is what I admired the most. That's what I aspired to. Because in my situation, I felt so weak and helpless. And so, wouldn't you know it, these are the two people that the narcissist had a problem with. So he got on to me about listening to these two preachers, and he also pretty much forbid me to listen to them. So his issue with the preacher man was, oh, why is he talking only to women? The narcissist did not like that. He felt like women were unimportant, didn't mean that much, and not the brightest. So he wanted to keep me in that dumbed down position, to not educate myself, to not know very much. That way he can have the upper hand and he can have control over me. He also had a problem with the lady preacher. He was terribly annoyed with her voice. And her voice does carry, but that's what we say in the South, the voice carries. He just felt like, oh, I don't want to hear her voice. And so he made it seem like he couldn't stand the sound of her voice. But what it actually was, what the spirit revealed to me was that lady's too strong. He does not like the fact that she is strong, she is courageous, she is confident. That narcissist was very, very afraid that I would get wind of the fact that I could be like that too. He did not want me to be strong. He didn't want me to be confident. He didn't want me to know that there was a such thing as that as a woman. And so it was pretty much like forbidden that I listened to her. And that broke my heart because I love her to pieces. And so I don't have that problem now. I can listen to her whenever I want to and turn her on every single day now that I'm divorced. So that was quite something to deal with. It's like you want to escape this prison, You want to get out of this pit, you want to get out of this hole. And then the narcissist is standing over the hole, looking at you like, I'm not letting you out. Don't you think about getting out. You're not getting out. So that was quite hard to deal with. But eventually, y'all, I got out. I got the victory. In addition to looking, online at the videos, I also started to invest in some books on relationships, and I had them kind of shipped to the house. And for the most part, he didn't know that I had a relationship book and I was reading those kinds of books. But one day, he came home and he caught me. I had the book face down on the dresser, you know, and I was getting ready to, read the book, pick it up and all of that. But he picked it up. And once he saw what that book was about, he got enraged. He flipped that book over. He looked at me. His eyes got very large and he yelled out the B word in slow motion. And you guys, he threw that book at me. He threw the book at me. Like literally threw the book at me. And all I could do was scream and get in the corner because I just knew he was going to charge me like a bull. And I got in that corner and I covered up my face and my head. But thank God, the narcissist didn't hit me that day. He just kind of walked out once he, saw me in the corner covered up. So I'm grateful I didn't get punched that day. Needless to say, I didn't read the book after that. I didn't get rid of it per se, but I got it out of sight. So you can see something as simple as trying to educate yourself, trying to better yourself, that can trigger a narcissist and have them going into rage. I am one of those people who love to learn. I believe that you should never stop learning. I do believe in education, not just formal education, but also life lessons, learning from your experience, learning from others, self education. I believe in all of that. I'm going to share with you my absolute favorite Bible scripture. We know that the book of Proverbs is full of wisdom. And here is my favorite scripture. This is Proverbs 4:7. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. And in all you're getting, get an understanding. I'm very grateful to have an understanding of what narcissism is. Even though it was a very hard experience to have gone through, I can't say that I regret it because I do feel like I'm stronger and I feel like I'm wiser and I feel like I do have the information now. So I should not be, going through the same thing over and over again now that I have the knowledge. And then also, it's a way to help others. Once you know something, you can share what you know. And understanding is the truth. Understanding is the light. Therefore, always walk into the marvelous light.